We're hot.
Alrighty, and welcome to the Unheard scene. We are live again in the studio. I'm Anthony, Matt, and Freddie's with us.
I'm Matt.
We got two guests.
Hi.
We got two guests in studio with us today. The first one I've been trying to tag down since we were the Unheard scene on Sports Talk Cleveland, and he would never come up for an interview at all whatsoever. And that's Dave Waller.
How you doing?
The other one is a musician from the Akron area. He is a talented acoustic guitarist and songwriter, and we were just listening to some of his stuff before the start of the show. It's Eric Oswald. Eric, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Eric, you want to start and go ahead and tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm not so sure what I can say. I mean, I worked full-time in a hospital for years locally here, and I do play guitar, electric and acoustic, which it's limited how much I can do musically when you work full-time, you know. But I play maybe once a month or so locally and try to write a little bit. So I've played most of my life, been a guitar player and some studio work. And just in the last several years, I actually sing a little bit. And so I write a little. I don't have a ton of songs. And so I sing and play a little bit locally here and there. And
Where about have you played?
well, I've played everywhere, really. I played at Wilbertson, Cleveland, several gigs at the Mustard Seed here. Most clubs around here. I played at Dominic's, Old 97 Cafe, and a lot of private parties and stuff like that.
Cool.
So that sort of thing. You know.
Told us you brought some songs with you. We want to go ahead and play one right off the bat. Does that sound cool with you guys?
I don't care. You guys want to go ahead and play one right
Play
off?
one right off the bat?
Why don't, Eric, why don't you tell us the title and maybe tell us a little something about the first song? You pick one. Of the
Which
four
one will come up?
Whichever one you want. I could bring up any one. We have four
Well,
recorded.
I tell you
in
what, my brother called me about 2 years ago in L.A. and was saying, you know, why don't you give me 3 really good ones? And so I sent him 4, and the first one that he heard was a song I wrote about 1.5 years ago. Vince Ruby produced it. We did everything in his living room. But it was called Hardly Breathing, and if you listen to this song, it's kind of a slow song, kind of a, to me it would be in a Tommy Lee Jones movie or something, like a Western song.
Nice.
But I got one of the best compliments from my brother when he heard this. He said, you know, I got to admit, he said, if I could ever write a song and capture that kind of genuine emotion, that's what I would want to do. And plus, it's only 4 chords through all the verses and the bridges, which is really cool, and he really liked it. And that would be Hardly Breathing. If you're
All right, so you want to go ahead and play that one then,
All right,
Freddie?
let's bring up Hardly Breathing. Eric Oswald.
Try, don't cry. Somehow you've been resting on my mind lately. Ain't no lie. But I'm gonna turn that page, thought I got to, 'cause I feel like I'm dying. Favorite wheels, looking left, glancing right. I feel the breeze blowing through tall timbers, fireflies dancing all day, late at night. But I'm gonna keep my heart pointed straight down that road. Lord, I feel like I'm dying, and I'm hardly breathing. right now you're probably feeling okay. Trying to keep myself more occupied lately ain't working all that well for me today. But I got to keep my head pointed straight on that road. Lord, I feel like I'm dying. I'm hardly breathing. I'm hard pressed to find reason to live. My life is changing. I'm like an old dog. Some things gotta give. I'm hardly breathing, hard pressed to find reason to live. My life is changing. I'm like an old dog. Some things gotta give.
Alrighty, welcome back. I just found myself sitting here holding a pack of SIT strings in my hand, and in the other hand I had a bottle of balls. I kid you not, I just looked up at Dave and I'm like, wow, I got both sponsors right in my hand. That's
Strings and balls.
crazy. Strings and balls.
Balls and strings.
that works well.
Balls and strings.
Alright, so we're
So is
back.
it- Are we pulling strings here? Or are we pulling
We're
out
pulling
balls?
strings and holding balls.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I guess
All
it all.
balls out with pulling all strings. How about that?
Before we get into a conversation we really don't want to have, we're going to continue talking with Eric. For those of you, before we went to the song, who don't know a lot about Eric, he is the brother of Brimfield's own Janie Lane. And so when he said brother, that's who he was talking to, or talking about. The one thing I wanted to ask you, though, maybe talk a little bit about your influences, what influenced you musically.
What influenced me musically? You know, I think about it. It goes way back. I think when I was about 5, was when Elvis Presley kind of hit. You know, and I remember seeing and hearing about Elvis Presley, and I thought, that's kind of really cool. You know, doing what he's doing. But then it wasn't. Then that was just what it was. And you go through grade school or whatever, and then it wasn't. But several years later, you know, I was around the age of 11. And I heard a friend of mine had an electric guitar. He played a song. He was older than me, and I thought that's what I want to do. So I got a guitar when I was 11, and I started playing You know, my first couple minutes on a guitar, man, I couldn't even play a C chord. I couldn't do anything. And it was my oldest sister that sat in a room right across from me when I was 11 and said, "No offense, Rick, I can never see you playing guitar." And that pissed me off. So from then on, I made up my mind, you know, and maybe a couple of years later, then the Beatles hit. And, you know, and then I started listening to that and delving into that. But it was, in fact, it was, I used to say to myself that I was playing guitar when I got the phone call that I had a little brother, because I grew up with 3 sisters and my brother was the youngest. So I'm 13 years old and I'm playing the guitar in my Aunt Elmore's bedroom. And I always told people that I was working on the lead to Hard Day's Night when I got the phone call that I had a little brother. And as I thought about that later in life, I thought, I'm usually right about shit. But in this case, I was wrong because my brother was born 1 week before the Beatles' first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. So that can't be right. I wasn't working on the lead for Hard Day's Night. But I was sitting there playing guitar when I got the call I had a little brother.
Wow, that's
so
cool.
Anyway, I just basically was influenced a lot by the Beatles and Hendrix and people like that. And as my brother came along, when he was maybe 3 or 4 years old, I would always entrap my sisters in a room and force them to sing Beatle harmonies so I could work this stuff out. When my brother's 3 years old, you know, I hear this bang, bang, bang on the door, and there he is. He won't stay out of the room. He wants to know where all the action is. You couldn't keep him out of the room.
Wow.
So I set him up on top of a TV with a pile of books and a bucket and 2 pencils. And he would just keep time like he's playing drums. But here's the incredible thing about it all. I had a sister that couldn't quite hit some of the parts. So I pulled him down on the floor at age 3 or 4 and I said, "Dude, can you hit this 3rd part?" And it would be like, "She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. Can you do that?" And he had it.
Wow.
And I thought, damn,
At
he's
3?
3 years old.
3
He can
years
do all
old.
these harmonies, and the rest is history.
Wow.
I bought him his first set of drums. This is a long answer to a short question.
It's all right.
But I bought him his first set of drums when he was 5. And see, I taught him some Elvis tunes. He'd sit there with his Cleveland Brown shirt on and his work boots, and we'd have a lot of company over on Sundays. So I taught him this Elvis tune that was kind of like, if I remember it was like, "Such a pretty little girl I ever did see," and he'd snap his fingers. I said, "Now, dude, when it comes to this part, I want to stop shopping around because I found," I said, "on that part, you got to stop and look at everybody. Because it's a big family reunion, right?"
Right.
So I have me playing it. My sister's going, "Shooby-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop," and there he is standing there clicking his fingers. And he's going, "I want to stop." And he stops. Everybody goes nuts. And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty cool. He's kind of really got that, you know. And then whatever, you know. And then I ended up going into the service when he was really coming on to. He played drums a long time, great drummer. And when
I
went
never
into the
knew that.
service, what's that?
I never knew he played drums.
Oh, he's a great drummer, man. He
Never
was
knew
doing
that.
Neil Peart shit when he was 17.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and he still did all the drums on his demos.
Wow,
That's
I
To this
didn't know
day.
that.
But when I left for the service, he actually started playing guitar when I wasn't around. So I would come
Somebody had
home
to.
when he's 15 or 16 playing acoustic, and I'd say, "Dude, let me show you some of these chords." And he never cared. And I thought, well, okay, he doesn't care about chords, but the point of it is that he's one of those people that could take a guitar with 3 strings on it and write a song. He didn't care about chords. He had a gift for melody and an ability to write. So
Sweet.
diminished, augmented, who cares?
That's cool.
So he was gifted. And I'll tell you what, ever since he passed away, I was thinking tonight, I always gave him credit for everything, but I never fully appreciated how absolutely talented he was until he passed away.
He
And
was-
that's vocally, songwriting, showmanship. He had so much, you know, that I always gave him credit, but like I said, I didn't fully appreciate it until I
Warren
also
was-
see the impact he had on fans.
Warren
and
was
the
my
quality
first
of
rock
his
concert.
songs. you
Warren
know.
was my very first rock concert. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be afraid to admit that either, because I loved that band so much.
Yeah. So he
They did
had a
so
lot
much
of
for
gifts,
me.
man. And one of them was, you know, working a crowd and the ability to throw a melody together. And
So I'm gonna ask. You said that he liked your music. Did Warren ever use anything that you wrote? Was there anything that maybe was special to him that you played?
well, I mean, I was asked. They flew me out to California, you know, for the beginning of the second album, Cherry Pie, and they didn't know what I was going to do, and I was going to do something on one of the songs. And so the first day in the studio, I was fooling around, and I was trying to come up with ideas, and I was just kind of getting tired. And I went home that night, and he was going to go see Kiss. And so we're all sitting around in the living room. I was upstairs laying down, I came downstairs, I grabbed a 12-string off the floor. I hadn't played a 12-string in 15 years. And I started getting this idea for this reverse arpeggio bluesy thing I used to do. And he walked over to me in front of everybody and he said, you know, he always shined me quite a bit. He would say, "My brother is the best fucking acoustic guitar player on the planet, and you're going to play that tomorrow in the studio for Uncle Tom's Cabin." So I went in the studio, and they gave me this big old Gene Autry thing, big ass guitar, and I sat down and I just basically tried to get a feel for it. I ran through the intro and I said, "Do you have a sound check yet?" And they were all standing in the other room saying, "Dude, you are done."
That's one take.
That's a great piece. I love that.
One take.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
awesome.
so I basically got a lot of acclaim, you know, from coast to coast, because most people have tried to play it. I assume that the reason it's a tough challenge for most people is mostly because of the uniqueness of my style, not because it's all that
Can we
phenomenal.
see the fingering on it a little bit? Do you remember it at all?
I have to do it from time to time, but to be exact, it's hard to say. But I've played it for people, tried to teach it to people. So now that I have to do this, let me think.
We're putting them on the spot.
It's something like this, and this is a guitar that I don't think some guitars play it better on.
I almost asked you.
Whip it out. It's just kind of like that, you know.
That's
this
great, man.
You should have seen his eyes light up when he started.
This guitar is tuned low. That's why it sounds so low.
Cool,
But
man.
so that's what it is. It's
Very
just
cool,
reverse
man.
arpeggio.
It's-
But I did that, and a lot of people said, "Dude,
Yeah.
that's really."
For those of you in the listening audience, he's playing that on this guitar that, I mean, it's got those old white tuning pegs on it that you know, it's called Holiday. This thing looks like,
I don't even know if it's in tune.
I mean, it looks
It's
like
in
you
tune.
saw it dragged on the back of a pickup truck, brother. Thing's cool as hell looking.
It's probably not in tune.
Now you're gonna tune it and screw everything up, man. It was all cool.
Well, that's just
Well, it won't ever be perfect tuned.
That's great, man.
It's just a
It's
75-year-old guitar, you know.
it's growing up. That's always one of those things that always stuck out to me was the beginning of Uncle Tom's Cabin. I did like that. And I was telling a girl the other night, I am a big fan of acoustic music because there's just nothing better than just a couple of guitars just sitting there playing. Matt and I went out and saw Dave and Freddie play at the Kashmir Cricket, and there's nothing better than seeing the two of them just strumming away and singing. And
Sitting there
You know,
on their
I-
bar stool.
I do the Uncle Tom's without a pick, and I used to play a lot without a pick because I have a couple of songs. I do a lot of this, you know, like. I do a lot of percussion, but I've gotten away from that because on stage it gets so muddy. So a girl was on the internet the other night trying to figure out the Uncle Tom's intro, and I let them know that nowadays I almost play exclusively with a pick on stage because you know, just Uncle Tom's was without a pick, but with a pick on stage it's much clearer. So I don't do much of that stuff anymore. So thanks, Freddie. You caught me off guard. I don't play without a pick. So, but anyway.
But
it
I've
is
seen
what
you
it is,
play.
know.
I've played with you. I know how talented you are. I know you're a bad, nice killer. So
all
that's
right,
great.
well, do
man.
we want to get into another song?
Yeah, let's.
I heard he brought quite a few of them with him, so this is going to be a musical show because as we were talking off the air, I guess Eric, Freddie, and Dave are going to play a little something
Maybe throw it together
little bit
on. I
later
don't
in the
know,
show. So we'll see what happens.
See what happens. But that's what our show is always about. It was about the music and letting people hear people play their music. And it's what we want to do. We want to put it out there for people to hear. Hope you enjoy it.
So, is there anything you can tell us? You know what I got queued up is Red Lights. Is there anything you want to say about that? Or
I don't know. Red Lights was a song that I wrote that was one of my jazzier approaches. I'm not a jazz guy. I don't believe I know enough, but I do play chords that I don't know or understand. and it sounds jazzy. So I feel like I can even do a couple of things live of Red Lights if you want to hear that, you know.
Yeah, let's hear it stripped down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll
This is just see what you think of this. I'll do a couple verses. I don't know what I'll do of it. I don't even know if I'll be able to sing it very well, but just see what you think. I don't look at red lights like I used to, and I don't walk in the rain without you. 'Cause when I see your face, I'm caught in this crazy race, I can't believe the places you're taking me. Never mind what I do, just trying to find my way back to you. And I don't hang out no more like I used to. And I don't get no kicks now doing what I used to do. 'Cause when I see you, girl, I'm caught in this crazy world, and I can't believe how you make time standing still. Well, pay no mind what I do, just trying to find my way back to you. Don't you run, don't you hide, I'm on your side. Baby, don't turn your back on me tonight. And I don't look at red lights like I used to.
Yeah, man.
That's my jazzy tune.
Well, let's hear the produced version, man.
That kind of
The
aggravates me. 'cause
produced
it's-
version is really just me in my living room with the cheesy piano loop. So it's the same thing, really.
I sit there and watch
You know.
you play that. Just the reason why I do this show is because I can't play a lick of. I can play "Smoke on the Water," which anybody can do, but you guys make it look so easy.
Well, I was hoping you could show me Smoke on the Water tonight. You know?
I don't look at red lights like I used to. And I don't walk in the rain without you. Cause when I see your face, I'm caught in this crazy race. I can't believe the places you're taking me. Well, never mind what I do, just trying to find my way back to you. I don't hang out no more like I used to. And I don't get no kicks now doing what I used to do. So when I see you, girl, caught in this crazy world, I can't believe how you make time stand still. Never mind what I say, just trying to find my way back to you. Don't you run, don't you hide, I'm on your side. Baby, don't turn your back on me tonight. And I don't look at red lights like I used to.
The strings, but
And we're on.
Alrighty, and we are back.
yeah,
Music full night tonight, huh?
yeah. That's like I said.
A lot of
That's what we want to
tunage
do.
tonight.
We want to put the music out there for people to hear, and if we're not playing it here, where else are they going to hear it, right?
I'll tell you, we do have a lot of players in the listening audience, and I'm sure they can relate, man. Doing the, the band thing, there's a certain nut you get off that. But boy, when you play solo or even the duo, David here's tonight. I do a duo with David. We have a rock band. It's called Zen Archer. Some modern stuff, but it borders mostly on a lot of 70s and a bit of blues. But man, we go and do the solo or the acoustic duo thing. It's just it's the intimacy, the connection with the crowd, and I played with Eric before I really saw his act, and then I've had the opportunity to see it a couple times. Like, and I know you do some different types of acts, and boy, playing with it was great. But when I got to just sit back and watch you play, the connection you can get with the audience. I mean, the talent's great, and that's one thing. But boy, to have that connection, and it's kind of funny because tonight's all a bunch of guys that really do that. David does solo along with the duo as well, so I think like everyone here can relate to it. And talking to some of the people in the listening audience, it's like some of the guys that maybe play that don't do that. It's a great thing to kind of get into.
It's fun to slow down.
Yeah.
Well, I always think that's important. I mean, I could sit at home and play alone all night, but if I'm going to be in front of a crowd, I'd like to know that they're involved and they appreciate what I'm doing. So then you engage a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I sell out a lot. If they're not liking what I'm doing, I cut it short.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'll do something else that I think they can relate to. So I apparently have no integrity whatsoever.
And I'm probably guilty of the opposite. Sometimes we'll be doing our duo with David, and I'll have that nylon string thing going, right? I'll probably have my head down, and I'll think, God damn, I've been going a long time. I'll be looking up, and sure hell, he's been looking at me. Waiting for the
I come back?
When are we coming
You
back?
know what I often wondered? I often wondered if guys like Mitch Mitchell or sometimes threw something at Hendrix.
Yeah, hey, come
Like,
back.
dude, enough, all right? Because nobody ever stopped him. But couldn't you imagine somebody saying, dude,
Bring him in for a landing.
It's all about you, isn't it, Jimmy? Come on. Because guitar players do that. I've had people do that to me. They walk up and say, dude, it's like, come on, let's get back to the song.
Yeah.
Freddie's being modest, though, because normally pretty much every time we do our acoustic thing, we usually let Freddie, we play for 60 to 90 seconds with Freddie jam and we hold down the rhythm, but every time I look around the audience and they're all watching Freddie, so yeah, he's being modest. They like watching him.
You got to let Freddie be Freddie at times.
They like watching him.
He's good at playing.
Although after like the 3-minute mark, that's when I'll usually
The 3 minutes.
come on, we make eye contact.
Freddie can play, and that'll catch people's ear. But so can singing. But anyway, Freddie could always play, So I'm sure he keeps getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I haven't improved in probably 19 years. I just play the same shit,
There's something you did one time. I want to say we had there was a benefit up in Cleveland. All these rock bands were playing, and this goes back probably years, and you were set up somewhere in the side, and you were doing something with electronics and acoustic. I mean, kind of like you were talking about, you were tapping on it and doing a lot of tapping and harmonics, but you also had loops going. Do you remember that? I mean, do you still do that?
Well, if I had loops, who knows what I was doing? But when I have loops and stuff, I will do this sort of thing, you know, like let's see. That kind of thing. With loops, you can do it. You can let things ring out. Then you layer and do.
Okay, so you're talking not just loops, using a loop layer where you're layering
I layer
one
a lot of
layer.
things.
Awesome.
Do harmonics and
Yeah, that's what I thought I remembered. Yeah.
along with what I was doing there, just to get a feel or
Awesome.
whatever.
Awesome. And then on the other side here we have Dave Waller. I want to make a quick mention of that.
Oh man, now we gotta bring Dave back into the
we're
picture.
gonna
He got
bring
us
Dave
2
back.
seconds of fame.
He's still
All right.
sitting here.
The cool thing about Dave is I met Dave and he asked me to play on the record. So I went in there and I mean he just kept handing me $50 bills, man, play another solo.
Hey, there you go.
It was great. You know, and I didn't know, and I'm thinking, you know, at the end of the session I was like, yeah, that's some really cool stuff. I can't wait to hear the record. Who all played on it? And it was all Dave. He plays drums.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, you're talking about
Plus,
Gene.
he kept throwing you 50. I play tambourine. You know,
Who knows? I probably was throwing me hundreds. No, no, but yeah, he was very righteous about
That's
in the
cool.
studio. But actually, he played bass, sang everything, drums,
So he
wrote
plays all
everything,
that, huh?
and wrote. Yeah, it was a whole solo effort. And he just had me come in and grease up a few solos on it and destroy the
I
album.
have to
probably.
respect that. I had somebody the other night. They came down off stage and they said, "So, do you play bass or drums or anything like that?" And I said, "Look, I'm only human." And they said, "That's a good answer. I like that." So the bottom line is that is exceptional. You know, I always respected people that can play piano and
Thanks. Yeah.
all that shit. You know.
With that record, it was cool because we recorded the Neon Cactus. It was probably my 5th record with Mike Ferrona, who's down in Nashville doing it now, a producer, engineer. But most musicians in Northeast Ohio know him. Good guy, really good producer. But it just so happened Freddie was in the studio. I didn't do all the solos. I'm not a solo player. Never aspired to be a solo player. It didn't come to me. It's not my thing. So I always, on the album, Freddie was in the studio. I was like, hey man, I'd love for you to he'd come in, listen to the rhythm track, do 3 or 4 takes, and we comp them a little bit together. Jared Kane was there, did a few solos, really great player. Mike Ferrona, great guitar player, he did some solos on it. So for all the records I've done, I always bring some great players in to play the solos because it's definitely not my strong point. But it was fun, great. We actually videotaped. I filmed the whole session, so it's sitting there. Yeah, it was supposed to be comped and with the album, put a video with it, but you know, of course, we know money.
Yeah.
Never made it that far.
Yeah, us struggling musicians, money wise, but it was a good album, and we'll hear some songs off it today.
Well, one thing I liked about it is, you know, you get out there and some stuff, but other things, on the other end of your spectrum is you're talking about some stuff right down home, right? Like you have that tune "Drinks on the House." It's kind of relative to the club we play and you work at.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Is it Drinks on the Tap House?
Well, that song is like the whole album. It's a good record, but we spent most our time mastering that 3-minute Drinks on the House, big chorus, jukebox, whether you're in Iowa, London, Northeast Ohio, Florida, wherever. You can sing the chorus. It's 3 minutes long. We produced that more than the rest of the album. We spent more time on production and writing that song.
And the sad thing is, as many times as I've seen Dave play live, I've never heard him play that song.
That's wrong.
Well,
Right.
wrong.
I've never heard it live.
You'll hear it next Saturday.
Okay.
We'll do it next Saturday.
Okay.
Quickly, I want to say that I'm glad Eric's here because it's good to talk to him and listen to him. But I was born in 1970, so I grew up. I was a drummer my whole life. I didn't start playing. I was forced into, with bandmates, I was forced into having to, well, I had to learn bass fast. I had rhythm, some drummer, so all of a sudden we didn't have a bass player. So I'm like, I'm pretty quick at learning stuff, so I spent some time forcing the bass. Never played guitar until I was 20 years old.
Wow.
Same thing. Guitar players kept changing, so I was like, okay, we got a drummer now, I'll move to guitar. And then vocally, I never sang ever in any bands. And again, I was forced into it. I'm like, okay, I'll just see if I can do it. And Warrant was in my range. Like, I started singing about 1990. It's the first time I actually sang live, but huge 80s fan, huge Warrant fan back then, and a huge Jenny Lane fan. And his vocal range, that's how I learned to sing, was to listen along to CDs.
Well, you must have a good range then, because he had a good range.
And
ironically, he like I said, he was 3 or 4 and he was singing harmonies.
God.
But to be honest with you, he played drums mostly like you, and it wasn't until he was probably, I think something like 16 or 17 that he actually wanted to start singing. Yeah. He wanted to be out front. You know what I mean? Wow. And so, like you, he actually didn't take singing seriously till a little later.
Right.
And he took some vocal lessons from
it was good too, because he had good showmanship. When he was on stage, he knew how to make the crowd go, "Hey, I'm right here, watch me."
Well, I always thought so, and people would say, "Well, he's your brother." Naturally, you're going to say that. But when I looked at other frontmen, even on the same card, the same bill, he was just better. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. I could just tell. But I didn't want to take away from what you were saying. You were saying that I just wanted to jump in and tell you that since you modeled a little bit after him, he too didn't fully start to delve into singing till later.
I actually I'm a fan. Like, I grew up with Motley and Warrant and
good bands,
all that hair metal, and I love that stuff still to this day. But like I said, starting singing in 1990, I'm like, I love Warrant's first album. I love all the 3 first ones, and but. So when I need to start singing and I need to be better, but I could sing Janie stuff right. He's right in my pocket for me vocally. So learning how to sing, I never took a lesson in my life. It was all singing along to the first 3 Warrant.
So will you give us some? Give us some.
Will you give us a sample? Of that?
Yeah, and he did. He is, because we a while back when we did, we did. What was the one tune we did? One gig, and I heard you actually mentioned that too live. You crowd that. That was a while ago.
I'm very proud of it. I mean,
I don't think you can do it, man.
We put Eric on the spot. I think we should put Dave on the spot too.
I think that's only fair.
Works.
I mean,
he's ignoring us.
Well, let's do this. Well, he's greasing up his voice. Why don't we go ahead and listen to Drinks on the House? You brought a disc, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
All right, so
and have some drinks on the house while we listen to Drinks on the House.
There we go. So, Drinks on the House, David Waller.
Paycheck in hand, then we'll raise some hell and strike up the band. I believe in this country and its fine land. So drinks on the house, drink as much as you can. Every day becomes Saturday night. their places, give their point of views and plead their cases. The hours go by and the nights go fast. We will dream about the future and relive the past. I believe we heard the barkeep right. Drinks on the house, but only for tonight. I believe in this country and it's my land. So drinks on the house, drink as much as you can. Come on now, light 'em up, Jay. Cake's about to blow, the till's almost dry. Drinks on the house, everybody singing now. Drinks on the house, drinks on the house, drinks on the house. Line 'em up, Jay.
Alrighty, and we're back. That is Drinks on the House, a song that we played back when we were at STC. That's one of the. Well, I was
We
actually.
didn't have the completely mastered version of
What's
it.
STC?
It's we used to be on an internet station called Sports Talk Cleveland.
Oh,
And we were
okay.
on Saturday
the move.
mornings, and then
Yeah.
we were on Sunday afternoons. And that was actually one of the most requested songs.
Yep.
Every time we'd go to the inbox, we'd see somebody wanting to hear that song. And I'm like, wait a minute, we just played it. And they'd come back with, well, we caught the end of it. Well, I'm sorry you caught the end of it, but, we got to move on.
At STC, that's mostly what we did was we played music. We'd get the bands when we could.
You didn't do a lot of sports talking?
Nope. We did straight local music.
Well,
And
the station was all
station was
sports
sports.
talk.
But
But we
us.
had our little 2 hours to do just music.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and so we bring in the bands when we could. We got Freddie up there. We tried to get Dave up there. I think we've tried to get you up there, Eric, for a couple times.
I don't
but-
remember.
Most of the time, it would just be Anthony and I, and people would send us their CDs, and we'd play as much music as we could in the 2 hours.
Man,
And
I don't know.
we would-
I would have sent you something.
we'd,
probably.
We'd throw together, like I said, we'd get a band come in, we'd interview real quick.
We
We
don't
had,
have that anymore.
No.
No,
Now
we're
we have
That's
this.
too bad.
and we're
and-
doing a podcast now. I'm currently trying to open up my own station. It's
We'll
just
get
taking
the
a
show
lot,
back.
just taking a lot longer than I
Now you two are
ever
brothers,
imagined.
right?
Yes,
So how far apart are you in age?
4 years.
he's older.
Yeah, I'm older
You're
by 4
older.
years. And then Eric knows our sister from the hospital, and
Right.
she's the oldest. She's older than me by 4 years.
So she was making you guys meals when you were just kids,
Nope.
right?
Stuffing
My
me.
older sister did that.
She used to
cooked for us.
she used to stuff me in pop bottles when mom and dad went out.
She used to what?
You know them 2-liter pop bottles.
Yeah.
Every time the mom and dad went out, she'd stuff me in one of those.
That's his story that
Really?
he didn't
Yeah,
want to be.
and I'll tell you the
Are
funny.
you in counseling?
I'll tell you the funniest thing is, mom never believed it until we grew up a little bit, and they had that little commercial where the little boy sucked himself into the Pepsi bottle, and mom started crying and said, "I will never think you're lying again."
But yeah, that's what we had Poison to come in, Poison tribute band come in, and they played acoustically a couple times.
I interviewed Green Jello.
Anthony interviewed Green Jello. We had
Well, there's always room for. No, never mind.
yes.
I mean, come on. You know.
Then we had a couple others come in, and we did different interviews here and there. But then we brought Freddie in, and they told us you
And
can't.
that's when the show was shut down. Right?
They told us you can't play an electric guitar over the internet like that and be it live.
And it
Freddie
won't,
said,
they
"Oh,
said
yes,
it
you
won't
can."
sound good, and Freddie came in and said, "Oh yeah, I can."
Oh yeah.
I brought little modules and I put my tracks on. I wailed over my tracks, but I had a little modeling piece that's the size of a wallet. So it had you run 7 effects at one time. I could put delay on it, gain, and all that, and played a tune. So I went right into their board with it. And then we were doing I was giving away my album. I'd play part of the Heartbreaker solo and the 7th caller that gets the solo, get a disc.
Yeah, we did name that guitar solo. It was kind
Yeah,
of sweet.
I'd
You
send
know,
them
the
a
thing
DeMarco
about-
Brothers disc, and then they'd send it back to me in the mail.
I will say the thing about Freddie, I've known Freddie for a while, and the thing about him, besides we already know he's a very talented guitar player, he was always sort of had the next, he was on the next level technically. He always had a couple bells and whistles, so he was good with that too. As was one other guy that I didn't really know too much personally, but there was a guy I went to school with that played rhythm guitar for the first Measles in 1966, and that's when Joe Walsh came from New Jersey. And I met Joe Walsh a couple of times, and that was something that stood out about him, is that he not only played really well, but he rewired his guitars, he changed the resistors in them, and he was always about the technicality. And I used to say, I don't want to mess with that. I don't care about amps. I just want to. This is my style or whatever. And someone one time said, that's part of your style. That's part of your sound, is the electronics. And that's when I began to pay attention to that, and that's what Freddie always had. So you definitely have the edge on that, besides your talent. Yeah. And your brother plays too. Yeah. And so I had a talented brother, so we had talent only with the guys in the family, but then you did too. You and your brother, And I hadn't seen your brother in a long time.
And his brother makes a pretty...
Have you guys been playing the same amount of time, or what?
Yeah, pretty much. His first 4 years was on piano, though. Then he switched to guitar later.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how long have you been playing, actually?
Too long.
Really?
No. I've been playing 36 years.
Wow.
Man, well, you got to try it and see if you like it.
Have you decided yet?
Still deciding.
His brother makes a pretty good Eddie Van Halen. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we went and saw Panama. And
really?
He makes a pretty
good
Eddie.
That. He and his brother both are the real deal, for sure.
All right, well, since we played Drinks on the House, actually, let's ask Dave. Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself, some of the bands you've been in, some of the things you've done.
Like I said, I grew up drums, started taking it seriously when I was, probably 9th grade, more than my friends, were just, for fun. I knew then.
Were you a band fag?
I wish, if I could go back in time, I'd have been in the jazz band in high school. I would have done all that.
No, the marching band.
No.
But I would be in the high school band if I could now. But anyway,
if I go back in time, I'd have been
in
all
what those band camps were like.
Yeah, really. See all those movies.
I miss this band. Go ahead.
But so just that I started playing gigs in high school and never stopped. I don't think I've gone more than 4 weeks in 22 years without a gig.
Really?
So, but M80's been around 17 years.
What does the M80s do?
It's
just what it sounds like?
No, no.
Old music?
All classic rock band.
Classic rock?
Pretty much every band I'm in now, currently, and what I have been in is, I was the youngest of 7 kids, so I grew up listening to Todd Rundgren, Beatles, and all that. So, Bowie, Todd Rundgren is one of my ultimate favorites, and he's another reason that I wanted to learn every instrument other than being pushed into it. That I'm like, okay, he doesn't have to count on people all the time, and he can do everything himself, and he doesn't have to count on people.
There's very few out there that can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I like playing in band, but
2 of them are in this room.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that guy. I thought I don't need a drummer, I don't need a piano player, and when I played piano, I thought I need a piano player. So, I'm not versatile like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm just a jack of all trades, but a master of none. That's how I see it. But I mean, I like having the good guys come in and play with me. But so like me and Freddie do a duo band right currently, and we do our full rock, but it's more 70s stuff, classic rock stuff, blues, Zen Archer, that band, and so we play pretty regularly, so it keeps me busy,
You said this is your 5th album coming out?
No, it's my 5th album. I worked with Mike Ferrona. Actually, I did 2 albums. I played drums on other people's record, and then actually
I've heard it too. I've heard it too, but
all over the years.
I know Broken Roads. I have that one. I have that on my iPod actually.
Yeah, and me and Jared did a band together, Namely Odd. The M80's album, DNA Level C, which Ferrona. We did the Neon Cactus also. So there's just always something. Always doing it. Kind of like Freddie. I mean, does it for a living. I don't do it for a living, but I bartend 2 nights a week. But then pretty much it keeps me from working 8 to 5.
Yeah,
which is good for me.
Yeah, I do that too. I work 8 to 5, and I don't like it. So this is gonna get me out.
5 days a week.
Yep, 5 days a week. I'm on vacation right now. I took the last week of the year off.
Yeah, when you work, it really cuts into the amount of energy you have to do your music and stuff. I work 12 hours in the hospital, and then I do 1 cameo in an adult film once a month. Which, it supplements. It may be wrong in some people's eyes, but
hey, well, if you're getting paid, it doesn't matter, right?
Like Anthony Quinn said years ago, if you gotta eat, you gotta eat.
Yep.
I suppose.
Actually, speaking of I suppose, this is a song for the new record that Freddie actually played. This one of the songs that Freddie played the solo on.
I suppose.
It's called I Suppose.
Okay, let's listen to some more Waller. This is off his latest disc.
That was a good segue. That's what they call that, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah. Cool. All right, let's check it out.
I suppose the birds will fly south for the winter. I suppose the seasons will change. I suppose the time lasts forever. And I suppose things might always stay the same. I suppose the crowds will gather, and I suppose everyone has their cross to bear. I suppose most things really don't matter, and I suppose most people really don't care. I suppose we all will fear the end, and I suppose sometimes we all lose our faith. I suppose we will take our one last breath. I suppose in this day and age we can never feel safe.